Listen carefully now. Do not allow anything to distract your spirit at this moment, because what I have to tell you is extremely urgent. A change has been decreed in an invisible realm, and this change concerns you directly tonight. Yes, right now, as you hear these words and your thoughts pause to wonder if this is truly meant for you, I assure you it is. Nothing you are experiencing is by accident. Nothing you have felt recently is by chance. I have been working quietly, closer than you realize, and today I have decided to speak clearly. What is about to begin cannot wait any longer. I placed within you, even before your formation in the womb, a specific call, a commission sealed with eternal purpose, preserved until this very moment in your life. This call is not a simple idea, not your dream, nor a human inspiration. It is a divine command planted deep inside your spirit, a seed of destiny that, though dormant for a time, is awakened tonight. Not by human emotion or pressure, but by my sovereign hand that marks times and seasons. I have seen your path of uncertainty. I have observed your private tears, your nights filled with unanswered questions, your moments of weariness and inner struggle. But all of that, though it felt like delay, was preparation. Nothing was wasted. Every season of silence, every closed door, every long wait, every situation you did not understand, was part of a greater plan your eyes could not yet perceive. But today, I tell you with clarity and everlasting love, the waiting time is over. No more delays. This cannot be postponed. I have decided this is your moment to step forward. Not by your own strength but by mine. The task entrusted to you has been hidden from your awareness because you were not ready to see it until now. But now you are. I brought you here. I preserved your life. I held your soul even when you did not know it was me doing so. Now I myself call you. This is not a general invitation. This is a sending. My child is being sent. Not just to hear but to obey, not only to receive but to act. I understand you feel inadequate, that you do not measure up, that others appear more capable or prepared. But I do not call by appearance. I do not choose those the world chooses. I call the humble, the broken, those willing to say yes even while trembling. I seek not your ability but your heart. Are you willing? If you are, then nothing can stop what I will accomplish through you. I open doors no one can close. I create paths where none exist. I call things that are not as though they were. And I chose you. You are not ordinary. You never were. Even when you convinced yourself your life would be small or unimportant. I had other plans. There are no mistakes with you. Every part of your story, every wound, every struggle, every victory has been woven with divine care. Now the veil is lifted and you are seeing what you could not see before. The path is revealed because your time has come. You will rise and shake off doubt, not by your power but by mine. My spirit will strengthen you. You will be guided, taught, and affirmed by my word. When opposition tells you that you are unworthy, that the time has passed, or that you are insufficient, remember this. I am sending you, and when I send, I support. I am with you as I was with Moses, David, Elijah, and Paul, not because of your strength but by my spirit. Look around. Everything seems the same but is no longer so. An invisible movement is happening right now. Carries new purpose. You will no longer live an ordinary life. From today, you walk as one who has heard my voice, awakened by an eternal call. Do not ignore this moment. Do not let it slip by. This opportunity will not return. I have spoken. This cannot wait. Listen now, for my words are different from human words. They are spirit and life. They purify like fire, cleanse like water, and separate truth from falsehood. I do not speak to entertain, but to transform, to awaken what is within you, to reveal what has long been hidden. This hour is not ordinary. What began invisibly now begins to show. Your spirit already understands what your eyes do not. What I planted within you is now activated by my voice. The troubles that once burdened you will now diminish. They no longer have power over you. Anxiety and fear will lose strength in the presence of the authority I have given you. You may not yet realize the impact of my presence, but through you the spiritual environment shifts. Your walk is not neutral. Wherever I send you, your presence causes change. The heavens open or stir according to the obedience or resistance of those around you. This is why you have felt rejection, discomfort, and unexplained attacks, because my presence with you disturbs darkness. Do not underestimate what I have given you. Do not dismiss the calm inside, the quiet whisper that says, "This is greater than you." It is not imagination or pride. It is proof that I have been working in you. That inner light is not fantasy or arrogance. It confirms you have lived below your design. You have walked limited by fears and others' expectations. But now things have changed. I have chosen you for a new purpose, one inspired by my spirit, not men or organizations. The call I gave you has been kept safe through storms and difficulties. I was there. Each time you faced rejection, misunderstanding, or opposition, I allowed it, not out of lack of love but because resistance strengthens purpose. Your enemy saw what you could not. The mark on you, the deposit I made. That is why the attacks. It was not against you personally but my plan in you. Many have tried to hurt you, even those close to you, friends or family, but nothing escaped my notice. The barriers raised to limit you were allowed by me to build your character, awaken discernment, and teach you that your dependence must be only on me. All of that did not happen because of who you were then, but because of what I planted within you long before you sought me. Your identity was known by the dark realms long before you understood who you were in me. Yet you resisted. You were refined in the fire, and my favor preserved you even when you did not understand why you still stood. Now the time has come. This moment is not merely a sign. It is a deliberate movement of my hand. You don't need to explain it. You don't need to convince anyone. What is happening to you is not meant for everyone to understand or approve. It is part of my expanding design, and you are an essential piece of it. Your spirit has been set apart for a season of challenge, awakening, and breaking limits. This is not just a comforting phrase or a promise to console you. This is an urgent call to move. It has been inscribed in the eternal plan. Your name is written in my book not only as heir but as collaborator. You can no longer walk the ordinary path. You can no longer remain asleep in the comfort of what is known. At this time I am raising up those I have distinguished, and you, my dear one, are part of that group. Free yourself from all doubt as you face this reality. I do not make mistakes. I do not improvise. I don't call without purpose. I provide strength for a specific cause. I summon you and also equip you. I proceed with divine intention. That part of you that has been dormant, That sleeping gift, that fire barely beginning to warm, is about to surge with power. I am awakening you inside so you may see with new eyes, walk with new authority, and speak with the conviction that comes from heaven. It could happen right now, my child, because you are no longer hidden. I have spoken. My word has gone forth, and when I speak, nothing remains the same. My voice is not a suggestion nor a faint whisper in your thoughts. It is the sound that held up the heavens, the very sound that called light out of darkness. And today that voice turns to you with absolute intention. What I have begun will not be stopped. Not by your past mistakes, not by the doubts that have built walls, not by the judgment of those who watched without understanding your process. What I have initiated in you does not require the permission of any human system. It was not approved in assemblies of men, nor decided by visible titles or ranks. It was sealed in my eternal counsel before time existed and now activates with power. Everything that seemed interrupted, the doors that closed, the paths that vanished beneath your feet, was simply a sacred redirection. The losses that overwhelmed you were not defeats. They were divine separations because you could no longer carry what lacked purpose in this new season. What was removed did not empty you. It cleared the way. Every detour was protection. Every delay was an invisible work preparing the ground for your assignment. Even when you felt everything was falling apart, the foundation I laid beneath you remained unshakable. There is a reason the battle intensified when you were weakest. The forces that rose up were not because of what you were doing then, but because of what was destined to be born from you. Hell doesn't spend resources attacking something that poses no threat. You were marked by what was about to emerge, and the forces surrounding you knew it before you did. They tried to silence you before your voice could find its purpose. They sought to discourage you before you understood you were established to disrupt spiritual patterns on the earth. Everything sent against you failed because my hand held you even in what you thought was your ruin. What now awakens is not a fleeting emotion or inspiration. It is a commission I deliver with eternal backing. The fear that once dominated your thoughts will be displaced by the certainty that you have been prepared by me. And when you face those environments that once intimidated you, you will discover you no longer speak from weakness but from assignment. Where you once retreated, now you will advance because the ground where your feet stand has been claimed. I do not send without authority, and what I place in those I call is not symbolic. It is real, tangible, and visible in the spiritual realm, even if natural eyes do not yet perceive it. You do not depend on human approval to operate what I have declared over you. The voices that once judged your worth no longer have jurisdiction in this new season. This is not pride. It is clarity. It is not self-exaltation but divine fulfillment. There is no room to negotiate insecurity because truth has been revealed, and my truth stands firm even as emotions fluctuate. When I speak, the waters of the soul must calm. What seemed chaotic takes shape under the power of my decree. The promises that once felt distant are no longer waiting. This is the time of fulfillment. As you move forward, you will face resistance. Not all opposition will vanish, but your stance against it will change. Where you once begged for strength, now you will walk knowing it has been provided. Where you once sought signs, now you will be the sign. Your life will become evidence that I speak, that I move, that I send. What made no sense will begin to align without human explanation. Doors opening will be the fruit of my favor, not strategy. And even if your surroundings do not change immediately, you will have changed. And that inner transformation will alter everything you touch. Fragility is not your enemy. It is the soil where my power is perfected. What the world calls weakness is fertile ground for me. That is why I did not remove your pains prematurely. Through them I was teaching you to depend, to cry out, to discern. Everything that seemed unnecessary was part of the process. The wound, though not from me, was used by me. The betrayal, though painful, exposed what you needed to leave behind. Moments when you felt invisible were to protect you from premature praise. Because the fruit you will bear is not ordinary, and what you will carry is not superficial. It is the fruit of a deep root cultivated in darkness and silence. And now it bursts forth with unstoppable strength. Not everyone will understand what is within you. What I planted inside you is not meant to be obvious to all. Do not expect recognition or seek validation. Those aligned with your journey by my Spirit will know it. The rest do not matter. The work I have begun is greater than your need to be understood. The plan is eternal, and you were included by design. Nothing was random. Every day was numbered, every step measured, every tear recorded. And now the moment comes with urgency. What I hid in you has been released. The world may seem the same, but your spirit has crossed an invisible line. There is no turning back. The former season is closed. Habit is dead. The old cycle has expired. What now blooms is the design I kept reserved for this time. You are not in preparation, you are in motion. I have spoken, and when my word is established, neither the visible nor the invisible can resist. All creation responds to my will. Nothing happens without first being allowed or declared by me. Likewise, what has been unleashed upon your life in this moment did not arise from fleeting emotion nor unexpected change. All was recorded and arranged long before you could conceive what it meant to walk under a divine assignment. This awakening did not emerge from circumstances. Rather, circumstances were orchestrated to bring you to this awakening. Each element has been arranged with precision. Every detail matters. Nothing you have lived is disconnected from the prophetic line that my hand traced across your story. What is being activated now is not a new possibility, but the fulfillment of a word that waited dormant for the right season to manifest. There are heavenly cycles that open only at designated moments. This is one of those times, not because you earned it, but because the time for fulfillment has been revealed. The manifestation stirring in you cannot be contained by old frameworks or managed by the structures you once knew. The past cannot hold what I am pouring out. What begins now requires a renewed mindset, a loftier vision, a deeper surrender. You have been led through paths that seemed contradictory. At times, you did not understand why you stepped back when you expected to advance, why opportunities closed when you felt prepared, or why others prospered while your own path seemed silenced. But my work never operates by what is visible. What looked like a pause was actually a deeper immersion in my design. There were things you needed to let go of before you could receive the new. Layers of perception, pride, fear, and dependence needed to be removed with precision. I did this gently and intentionally, for what I will place on you cannot be mixed with impurities of the soul or human ambition. This is a time of redefinition, not of your worth, as that was never in doubt, but of your focus. You can no longer move as one seeking a destination. You must walk as one who carries it. My presence on you will be confirmed not by your words, but by the results you provoke. There will be changes simply through your silent obedience. You do not need to prove anything. Support will not be delayed. Wherever you go, there will be evidence. When you speak from intimacy, there will be authority. When you reach out your hand, it will be clear you have been set apart. This season will also require you to release old methods, even those that once served you. Not because they were wrong, but because they do not belong in this new movement I have unleashed. What sustained you in a former season may now become a burden if you try to carry it forward. I am bringing fresh revelation, not to replace my truth, but to awaken dimensions of it your heart could not bear before. Teachings, revelations, connections, and resources are being released to you, not by human effort, but by my grace working actively in this new stretch of your journey. You will be surprised at how quickly things change. Sometimes you will feel as though an invisible current is propelling you into territories you once avoided. It won't be by your strategy, but by my impetus. I am the one who opens a way where once there were blockages. Time that seemed lost will be redeemed. Opportunities you thought would never return will be supernaturally restored. Everything denied to you by human judgment will be granted by divine command, not because of what you deserve, but because of what I have chosen to entrust to you. Prepare your heart to travel in a way that confounds human reasoning. Not every instruction will make immediate sense. Not everything will be explained by logic, but every step in obedience will unleash something greater. The inner voice that once whispered will now resound firmly. Discernment, once fragile, will become keen. You will no longer operate from need, but from fullness. From that fullness, others will be restored, aligned, and ignited by the same word I have planted in you. Do not look back. The past holds no power over you. Yesterday cannot contain today's design. You have been positioned at the edge of something unprecedented, not as a spectator, but as a bearer. You will carry a burden, yes, but not in isolation. You will carry responsibility, but not without my guidance. Through the process, you will discover parts of yourself you never knew, gifts you didn't realize you possessed, authority that had lain dormant awaiting this moment. This is a time of manifestation, not of explanation. Heaven has moved and placed you exactly where your story and my purpose meet. Here is where everything starts to take shape. Some moments change the course of history, not because the world notices, but because in the invisible realm the trajectory of a soul is transformed. You have entered such a moment, not because you anticipated it, but because I have declared it. The movement begun inside you did not arise from human thought or emotion, but from my eternal will. Seasons change when I decree them. Even if your environment hasn't yet reacted, a mandate involving you has already been executed in the heavenly order. An assignment sealed for this time has been released. It is not a shallow calling nor something mixed with ordinary desires. It is a specific task, soaked in purpose, designed with precision. What is entrusted to you is not for spiritual entertainment or external recognition. It is part of a greater work that does not value human stages or audiences above all. This work operates on a deeper frequency, where true fruits are not visible immediately, but are eternal. Many run after visibility, seek validation, words, platforms, positions. But I raise up those whose roots have grown in silence, in anonymity, in self-denial. True fruit can only endure when the root is firm. What I have developed in you is not light. It has been forged in the fire of patience, shaped through long nights of waiting, proven in places where no one applauded you. That's precisely why it is trustworthy. It wasn't inflated by vanity, but developed by perseverance. As you move forward, you will notice many things begin to shift. Relationships will be redefined. Some connections will fade without clear reason, not because of malice, but because they are no longer aligned with the path I am unfolding. This movement will bring cleansing, separation, and realignment. Do not resist. I myself am restructuring your environment. The connections that once sustained your identity will no longer be necessary, for I have established a higher identity that does not depend on others' opinions. I have affirmed you not in what you do, but in what you are called to represent. There are territories that need your obedience to be opened, not necessarily physical places, but spiritual spaces long stagnant, waiting for a voice to carry my instruction. You will speak words that break cycles. You will walk with a spirit that does not compromise with lukewarmness. You will not make concessions to be accepted or compromise what you have received to maintain apparent peace. You will be an agent of alignment. This may not always be comfortable, but it is always necessary. The time for adapting to others' expectations is over. You were not formed to imitate human models, but to reflect my design. That is why I set you apart, why you never fully fit in, why, even among crowds, you felt the weight of distinction. It wasn't rejection, but a sign. I marked you so you would not settle. I isolated you at times to keep you from being deluded by systems lacking my life. What I have placed upon you requires clarity, and that clarity is sometimes only found in the desert.